Today, 10th of November 2008, we've been hosting the Green Party's launch of their environmental agenda, their policy for the forthcoming European elections. They're fielding lots of candidates, and because it's a system of proportional representation, they have good chances of getting some of those candidates in. And they've been filming in Genersys offices, explaining for the media, we've had the BBC and ITN and so forth here, explaining what their agenda is, what their manifesto is in relation to green matters, and we're very, very happy to do that because we're a green company.
Well, today we're launching the Green Party's European election campaign with a very clear message. And the message is that the best way to get more green jobs here in Britain is to vote green at the next elections. Essentially what Green MEPs and our candidates are pledging today is that we'll introduce what we're calling a Green New Deal for Europe. Essentially that's a plan, a practical and radical plan for a massive investment in renewable energies, energy efficiency, which will both address the economic crisis, it will address the climate crisis, it will create thousands of new jobs as well. Love it or loathe it, the EU has a massive impact on our lives. Around 90% of environmental legislation is made in Europe, over 50% of our social legislation. So if you care about the quality of the air that you're breathing, if you care about how much renewable energy Britain's creating, if you care about basic human rights, anti-discrimination, all of those decisions get made in Europe. And so that's what makes it so critical to make sure that the representatives in Europe are good ones, and that's certainly what I would say the Green Party is doing there. We're actually making the legislation as progressive as we possibly can.
Hooray!
We're going to get.
What the Green Party is saying, and in some ways it's important because it ties together the various strands of existing policies, both wished and real, is they're saying that if we implement a green agenda, a green manifesto, that will in itself create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and they're right. We will, they want far more insulation in homes, which conserves energy, but they also want a lot more microgeneration, stuff like Genersys' solar panels that creates energy. And of course, all of these systems have to be installed. That creates a huge amount of jobs in the microgeneration industry for installers. And that actually ties in well with the government's targets, highly publicised targets. We've got to have a lot more renewable heat. We've got to have 20% reduction in carbon emissions by 2020. Now, you can't get your 20% reduction in carbon emissions by 2020 without using solar thermal. It just won't happen. And so putting a big solar thermal nationwide program of incentives to require or to encourage people to install solar thermal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. That's important, and so we're very happy to host it for them. That's their political message. Other political parties have got sort of going around the edges of this political message, but no doubt the penny will drop, and no doubt there'll eventually be a consensus that we need much more microgeneration in the United Kingdom and many, many more green jobs.